Hey y'all, I'm James Wright and welcome to Wood by Wright 2. Today we're going to be doing our Thanksgiving tradition and talking through a few Christmas gifts. I know it's Thanksgiving, we can finally start talking about Christmas, right? Well, at least if you're in the US. If you're outside the US, then you've been talking about Christmas for a while. But I want to actually go through some of these ideas that you can get for just about any woodworker out there. Also, I am going to be leaving a link down below to a series of videos that are all about gifts that the woodworker can make to give away. There are a lot of projects in there that are quick and easy that most people can do in a few hours in the shop, even with just hand tools. So it's a fun way to make gifts, but do it economically and time-wise. So take a look at that list down below. But today we're actually going to be looking through all of these things that you can get for the woodworker in your life. And if you are the woodworker in your life, then maybe you can send this video to one of your friends and say, hey, here's some ideas. One of the first ones on my list are painter pyramids. Now these are something that you can fairly easily make with a block of wood and a finishing nail through it, but they are relatively cheap and an easy thing to get. And if you are a woodworker, you probably have a set of these, but it's some of these things where you can always use a few more of them. So if you always go get another set, you're good. I think I have 2 sets here, and these are incredibly useful because you can set them up, you can put your work on top of it and it won't damage the work, and it will let it seal all the way around while the finish is drying. A great gift idea even for that woodworker who has everything. Also, if you want to see links to anything I'm talking about, they're all down in the description below where I show exactly what I'm talking about here. There are links to all over the web, from Amazon to individual sellers that make your own, and even a few things that you can buy on my website. Next up, we've got the glue bot. This is something, I think I have 3 of these with different glues inside. It seems kind of gimmicky for applying glue, but once you try it, it is phenomenal because you can glue up. If I push on this, the glue comes out the spot and I can bring out new glue here. As well as everything on here, the glue just peels off, and it's a really good design. I've had them for 4 or 5 years and I use them all the time. The glue bot, a great thing to have, and even if your woodworker has one already, they can probably use another one. This next one's a little bit different. We're going to be talking about detail brushes. Yes, little detail brushes like this. These brushes are incredibly cheap, and you can buy several packs of them for a few bucks. So if you're looking for stocking stuffers or something that you can just quickly buy and give to someone, I use these constantly. If I'm doing dovetails and I need to get glue into things, or I'm putting epoxy down, detail brushes are incredibly useful, and they're a really good cheap gift. So it's something that you could buy a bunch of them and give them to several different woodworkers around you. Personally, I like the ones that are about a 1/2 inch wide, but they do sell them all the way up to 3/4 and 1 inch. They don't need to be that big, they just need to be useful. Next up, I've got a dowel plate, and I have an entire video dedicated to what is a dowel plate, and I have another one about how to make your own dowel plate. It is a very, very useful tool because you can make your own very precise dowels. And if you have riven your wood and it's nice straight grain, this will produce beautiful dowels out of any wood type you have. So if you want to make a dowel that matches the wood you're currently working in, this will do it for you. DFM Tools makes this. Now it is a little bit more of a premium gift, but this is one of these things that most any woodworker would absolutely love this. It is an amazing thing to have and so much fun to use. So if you don't have one of these in your life, that's definitely worth getting. Next up is kind of an obvious one, but a marking gauge. Now, most woodworkers out there have a marking gauge, and if they don't have a marking gauge, then this is the gift you need to get them. But even if they do have a marking gauge, you can never have enough, because I often will have 4 or 5 of these set out on my bench and all set to different sizes and measurements so I can be marking and doing all my joinery. And invariably, I need one more. It's one of these things that you can't have enough. This particular one is the Veritas style with the dual beams, so it can do mortises. I'll leave a link to this one down below, as well as a single beam that only has the one pole sticking out. It's a little bit cheaper, and you don't need to have the 2 beam from Veritas. The ones will work just fine. You just need more of them then. Next up, we're going to talk about strops. A strop is an incredibly valuable tool. Whether you sharpen with diamond stones, wet stones, oil stones, sandpaper, a strop will up your game dramatically. And I have probably a 1/2 of these sitting around the shop, and they're always useful to have different places. So even if you have 1 or 2 strops, it's worth getting another one. And these are actually something that I make. So if you want something that's from Wood by Wright, I sell them with 2 different styles. One with the logo in the corner, another one with it in the top center. And they are made out of genuine horse butt leather. So they're an incredibly hard leather that is very, very useful for stropping. So yes, if you want to see these, they are on my website. Next up, I'm giving a shout out to my main man, Katz Moses Woodworking. He makes these absolutely beautiful dovetail jigs. Now, I honestly don't use dovetail jigs that much, But when someone is starting to get into woodworking and they're trying to learn the methodology, this is a phenomenal jig because it allows you to still use the saw just as you would without the jig. But using the jig, you're going to get a little bit more accurate, and it's going to teach you how to use the saw. You could buy these for 1:6 or 1:8. I think he even has them for a couple other sizes. They're nice because you can see the wood all the way through it, and it does all of the angles you need from 90 degrees to the angle you need for actually cutting it. It's a phenomenal tool and relatively cheap in comparison to what other things are. So this is definitely a great gift idea for the woodworker in your life. Hand screw clamps. Yes, I mention these every year because you can never have enough clamps in your shop. Now I know I'm going to have someone who's telling me, well, yeah, you can. I actually have never met anyone who says I have too many clamps in my shop. And hand screw clamps, I have probably 24 of them, and I don't know how many times I've had, oh, stink, I need another one. They are incredibly useful for working on detailed things, for actually clamping surfaces together, for working on power tools. If you're working with something small, you can put it in this and work around on the table saw. It keeps you safe. So even if the woodworker in your life already has a bunch of clamps, you can always get more and make them happy. This is one of these gifts that anyone will want. It is a very enjoyable gift to give. And if you want to see how to make these, I actually have a video showing how to make hand screw clamps. A couple different styles, even with the wooden screws, as well as the kits you can buy with the metal screws. Spoke shaves. As with a lot of other things, you can never have too many spoke shaves. I have well over a dozen of them, and I always see others that I'm like, ooh, I could use that spoke shave. They are incredibly useful, incredibly fun. If you have a young woodworker in your life, this is a good one to give them because this is something that it is very enjoyable to use, and anyone can pick it up, and in a few minutes you can actually be making things with this. I have a video where I'm making the hand propellers that you can spin in the air. You can make it with a spoke shave really quickly and really easily. Actually, Paul Sellers also has a video on doing that as well. It is a very versatile tool that most any woodworker would love to get another one or two. This particular one is an old one I have with a flat bottom. I have a link down below to a kit where you get a flat and rounded bottom for a relatively cheap price. But they are a great tool to have in the shop. Even if you have a few, you can always have more. Next up, the valuable card scraper. If you hate sanding, this is your ticket out of sanding. Less dust, less muss, less fuss, and it is incredibly fun to get a nice clean surface off of a card scraper. This is something that is a little bit tricky to master at the beginning, but once you get it, you never go back. This is incredibly fun. This is one that I actually sell on my website. You can see the branded Wood by Wright on there. But they're actually made by DFM Toolworks, the same guy who makes the dowel plates. And he actually lives not too far from me, and I love his stuff. So he actually worked with me in making these that I brand and sell. If you want to buy them from my website, you can actually get them branded. But on my website, I actually have a link to where you can buy his. We're a little bit cheaper that aren't branded. Exact same thing, you just don't get the Wood by Wright logo on them. So I show if you want to buy it even cheaper, you can do that, but if you want to buy it with the Wood by Wright logo, you can buy it on my website. And then last, if all else fails, buy wood. If you're a woodworker, you need wood. The exotic and fun stuff, even if it's just small pieces of something weird and different, get wood. I've never seen a woodworker who's like, no, I don't want no more wood. You know, go to a woodcraft or a wood store like that and pick up something that's a little bit different. Maybe some Paduke or some Purple Heart or something fun that, you know, you can get a small piece for, you know, 10, 15, 20 bucks. And it would make a great gift. So don't be afraid to buy wood. It is a great gift to give. Even firewood like this, you can make some interesting things out of. So wood is a great gift for a woodworker. So I hope you like this jaunt through the woodworking gift ideas. I do have links to all of these down below, as well as several of the videos I talked about. So go ahead and take a look through that and see if this spurred any other ideas. Also, if you have something to be like, oh, this would be a great gift, throw it down in the comments. Let's create a comments list of all the different gift ideas that we can have out there and have a good time with this. So I hope you like this. This is one of the fun traditions I do every Thanksgiving, and we'll keep it going into the future. If you do have any other ideas, things that I missed, or things that we should add to the list, throw them in the comments. If you did like the video, please hit like, comment, share, subscribe, ring the bell, and we will have a lot of fun in the future. So for today, have a happy Thanksgiving. So I hope your Thanksgiving is phenomenal and you have a wonderful Christmas coming up. I think that's about it for today. And until next time, have a wonderful day. I love the smell of Christmas.